Hello, welcome to today's stream. I want to take a moment just a quick moment to formally apologize to Jamie, because last week in our chat we had someone whose comment was rude to you, and that comment was able to, while it was handled very, was handled as quickly as possible, it was able to get through. And so, you know what? I'm sorry, because that's not the kind of stuff that I want here on this channel. And it has been, we learned, excuse me, for all of us who have channels that attend this stream, we learned new words to add to our list of unapproved words. So, yeah, but my apologies. Seriously, my apologies to you, because Tara was trying to learn on the fly. She has not had the opportunity to have to deal with those kind of modding duties. And I know she was trying to learn on the fly with deleting. And I know that both she and Joseph said that they reported the user. I went back. Sorry, I went back after the fact and checked out, because I can see what went through even though it wasn't showing. And so yeah, anyways, they were rude. That's not acceptable. It's not happening here. And anyways, we will continue on now. Thank you to Tara. Thank you to Joseph for modding for us and helping us keep the chat clean, because that is what we want here. We want to have some fun, and yeah, we don't tolerate any kind of mistreating of people in the chat or otherwise. So there we go. All right, audio is live and video is live, which means all of that was heard and we can continue. So today it's World Watercolor Month, and I forgot to check the prompt. There's Jamie, and so there's Jamie right there. So excuse me. I thought it would be great to drink some fizzy water just before I went live. These are not good decisions. These are not good decisions. So anyhow, and I was choking. That's why I had to launch with the intro, because just as I was getting ready to go live, it just came on, and I was like, well, we'll just launch the intro and hopefully we can breathe by then. We're doing fine now. We're moving along. Breathing is good. Okay. So Jamie, if you just came in and you missed that, anyways, the beginning, I was apologizing to you because you had to deal with the rudeness of someone who is no longer able to access the channel, and certainly comments that are now added to the, you can't say that here without us approving it. All right, today, because it is World Watercolor Month, you know what, Jamie, I hope you did miss it. I hope you did miss the comment last week, and you messaged me privately, and anyways, it's okay. So, it is World Watercolor Month. It is July. I have been wanting to do the prompts so bad. Who's doing it? Is anybody doing it? I've been watching Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, on both Instagram and YouTube. She's been posting. She's been doing beautifully on it. Me, on the other hand, let's see, what is today? The 14th. So I have, well, I have like 14 to catch up on. Just saying. It's been a busy beginning of the month. Anyhow, I thought that if anybody knows the prompt for today, throw it in the chat because I can't recall. Well, thank you, Jamie. But I want to make sure that people know that that's just not going to be. We're not going to tolerate that kind of stuff. So, all right. As to today's prompt, if somebody knows it, pop it in the chat so I can pop it on the screen. Maybe it'll inspire something that we'll create later. But today, and I'm going to bring you down towards the desk, and I will try to catch everyone who is here so we can say hello. Oh, actually, I'm going to bring it this way. Boom. So that I can see you too. We'll go to full screen on the desk when I start mixing and doing colors. And hello to Cat's Art Picks is here. Hello, Jamie Eddy, Tara Giblin Art, and Art of Joseph Fincham, who of course are my wonderful mods. Thank you so much. And I said Jamie, Cat's Art Picks. I think I have everybody who has currently popped in the chat. And if you're just watching and you're not commenting in chat, hi, and thank you too for being here. So today, the supplies are supplies that I got in the May 22 Paletful Packs box. So just going to get that out of the way. I'm just showing you that because that's where they came from. Paletful Packs does not send me these boxes. I purchased them with my own money. So just to also throw that out there. Now, we have had a lot of talk because, you know, I've been on this quest to find the medium that I actually like to use on the Canson XL watercolor paper, with much failure so far. I'm still hopeful. I have a bunch of this paper and I will find something that I want to use on it. However, in talking with Cat's Art Picks, who is here in the chat and is usually here, okay, Tara says, I think it is dance. If I can see where that went. I wonder. Let me just testing something out real quick. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay. If I can find it. Right there. So Tara said she thinks it's dance. All right. So we have discussed like watercolor papers and, you know, they're expensive. We know they're expensive, but we love watercolor. So is there one that's kind of affordable and it's not going to be like buckling like crazy? I don't know. That is a cellulose paper. Of course, I do have my paint puck. List for everything is in the description. List for all of these supplies. And I'm going to talk about the, I'm just kind of moving this out of the way, my paint puck there. And of course, I also have my individual paint water with the paint puck there. And my rinse well is also on my desk. So, plenty of water. This pad, which is really thick. I mean, look at that. Of course, this ruler is horrible at trying to be able to see that. This is 30 sheets. And it is, that pad is almost 3/4 of an inch thick. Yeah, it's almost 3/4 of an inch thick. Is that like, I don't know how well you can see it, but trust me, take my word for it. There's 30 sheets of paper in here. It is cold press watercolor paper. Of course, it says acid free, 140 pound, 300 GSM. This is a 6-inch by 9-inch or 15.2 by 22.9 centimeters for those of you who are not on our standard measurement. So the rest of the world. This book, you could customize your cover. So I could take this one off if I wanted to. And there is a piece of steel blue mixed media paper in there that I could design my own cover. I'm not doing that today. That's not what today is about. While I am using the supplies in this box, I'm not doing that. I'm not sure what the prompts were for this month, which if I'm going to continue to get paletful packs, I am going to make sure that I look up what the prompts were so that when I cover the box, and I'm going to try to start doing my best at covering the boxes that I get in the month in which I get them. That is goals. Hashtag goals right there. So spoiler alert. I did say if I continue to get paletful pack box, and I will be filming the current month box, and I'm going to try to get that out for you next week in a regular video. That won't be during a live stream. Don't want to do too many spoilers, but I might have had a little bit of a problem with this one, which is crazy because, well, I've never had a problem with them. I enjoy that box. So anyhow, the Vision watercolor paper by Strathmore. This, it does say cold press, but I have to say that in comparison, well, if I say in comparison to like Canson, of course I left that on the other side of the room because I was like, I am not using it. I am not touching it. It is not coming into the stream today. It's a little smoother than what the Canson is, and I don't think that's going to pick up the texture. Well, a little bit. Can you guys see the texture slightly on there? It's not really heavily textured. It's not like a rough, but it's not as textured as some cold press papers that I've seen. I guess that would be a better way. Now I'm going to take a piece out of here. There we go. And we may use more than one piece today, I am sure, because I want to try something. I really want to put this paper through a good test of how will it buckle and react when we really throw stuff at it. So, you know, I'm just going to take 2 pieces out right away because I know that that's going to be something I'm going to need. And then I'm going to set this behind me in case we need more. So that is what we are using today. Now, the other thing that I mentioned, if you saw in my thumbnail, excuse me, for this video. Oh, I'm sorry, my chat was not scrolling, so I've missed it. Yeah, it's a very decent size pad of paper that came with that subscription box, which till now, like I can always say that I've always seen the value in their boxes, and I appreciate that. So, and okay, so see, excuse me, Cat's Art Picks, who is here, thinking about trying the Saunders Waterford brand, which I tried that. I was using that in last week's. I was using the Saunders Waterford. And it says tad pricey. The link is in the description for this one. Let's see how it performs. And then if you want to check that out, I can definitely say that price-wise, it can definitely compete with where the Canson's at. And this, of course, is cellulose, so. Oh, and see, Jamie, Jamie, you got this box, right? Because you said if you were home, you could tell me what the prompts were. And so you think one was beach, one was flower. Can't remember the other two. Well, beach goes great with watercolor. Thinking, world, like watercolor month. How does beach go perfect? Anyways, doesn't matter. I'm thinking beach, watercolor. That's where my mind just jumped. Okay. Oh. Yeah, the euro and the dollar are pretty darn close right now. So that's a good point, Tara. And if you go to Amazon UK, perhaps I couldn't find it on this one. I could not find on Amazon US. So there's no link to Amazon. It's actually, the link in the description is to Blick. And Blick they didn't have the pad that was 6x9. So they had the pad that was like 9x12. And for the pad that was 9x12, I thought it was very reasonable. Oh, yeah, you did. I remember seeing yours I remember seeing your video when you covered that. So Yes, if any of you don't know, Jamie does have Jamie Eddy Art, correct? Because you're not signed in as your channel right now here. So I think you're Jamie Eddy Art on YouTube, correct? And when she confirms, I will say yes or no. And guys, if you haven't seen it, check her channel out because she also has been covering some boxes and she does some great artwork, and check it out. Okay. So for today, I was talking about Holbein. Now there was only 3 colors and I thought, well, these aren't really the primaries I would choose. If you guys, that is correct. So there we go. So Jamie Eddy Art, check that Eddy, E-D-I-E. Check that out. These aren't necessarily the 3 primaries I would choose if I was choosing the colors, but you see here, they definitely could be 3 primaries. To me, this looks like it's more like a cyan, magenta, yellow type of color palette, CYM, right? So that's not a problem. That is not a problem. I do not mind at all. So you are always popping in and contributing to the chat and definitely help me out. I don't have the stuff saved. I didn't remember because I didn't go in and save it, which I knew I wanted to do. And unfortunately, unless the box is available as a past box, and even then I don't think you can see the prompts because they email it to us. And at first I was like, well, they email us the prompts. I mean, they email us the link to that month. So we can like spoil it for ourselves and see it ahead of time if we want to. And usually I don't. But then I went back to my emails. I was like, oh, it's in my email. Just go check that. No, it just brings me to the current month. So I can't see even those past months with the link that was there. It's just linking to the page that is current month box. So Holbein. The Holbein, I wrote down some fun facts that I wanted to share with you for the stuff that was in these boxes. And for Holbein Watercolors, for those of you that don't know, my little notebook of fun facts. So let's just jump on down here for a second. Holbein Watercolors, Holbein products. I'm still looking at the camera like you guys can see me. These are made in Japan. It is a Japanese art supply. And I actually have a family member who's in Japan right now who I keep going, and you send me a care package versus me sending you a care package. Anyhow, so they are made in Japan, or they're from Japan. And they claim to have many colors that you can't find in other brands. And Holbein Watercolors do not contain oxgall or any other type of ingredient that might hinder the brush handling qualities of the paint. So it's supposed to make it a great choice for painting in that traditional Japanese style where brush strokes can be preserved. Now, these 3, just so that you know, you'll see in the description, if you like to shop on Blick, I linked directly to Blick. If you prefer to shop like Jackson's, there is a link to Jackson's. I am an affiliate with Jackson's. Oh, and by the way, if you have never shopped at Jackson's before, using my link, I believe, does get you 15% off your very first order if you haven't ordered with them in the past. Just throw that out there. But they are affiliate links, just so you know. Using them supports the channel, and I greatly appreciate anyone who chooses to do so. But on Blick, you're going to get linked to where you can purchase sets or individuals. You'll notice that in the links for Amazon goes directly to the colors. Now, there was a reason that I did that. We won't tell anybody, George. Your secret is safe. And Jamie, whenever you have to go, but we appreciate you being here for as long as you could. Okay. And hopefully everything goes well with your appointment. These watercolors, you can get the permanent yellow light in one of the sets. Like if you look like a set of 12 or a set of 18 or 24, you can get the permanent yellow light in one of those sets. However, you cannot get these in one of those sets. So when I show you these colors today, I wanted to make sure that you were fully aware. You can't buy them in a set. You have to buy these, at least these. You can get this included in one of them, but these are not. So the colors today are, it is, wow, mine just shut down. Permanent yellow light. And permanent yellow light, I meant to look ahead of time because it's going to be very hard to see this. I meant to look and write this down for you guys. Is it on there? I have to use my monitor, so luckily you guys are not seeing me trying to look at that. I was looking for the pigment information on the package because I thought it was there. This is, wait a minute, it's over here. It's over here. Yeah, right there. So this one is PY74. You see it right there. PY74. Right? That does say 74, not 24. Wow. Yeah. Oh, there we go. So there you go. There's the pigment for that. Now on this one is Opera, which is quinacridone Opera. And that one is pigment focus. Right? You see that? That says BV10 and PR 122. So there's your pigments in that one. And then Peacock Blue, now that I know where they are, I just show them to you. I like to know the pigments. PG7 and PB15 make up Peacock Blue. Like, what does that mean to me? Well, PG7, if I'm not mistaken, is a phthalo green, and PB15 is like a phthalo blue. So these tubes, good, great question. Let me just pop that up. These are the size of like a 5 ml tube. And does it actually say 5 mLs on here? Again, the writing is so tiny. This one's hard to see because it's like, my tubes were like beaten up on the way to me, I think. Does it say? It is a 5 ml tube size, but right there. I think that says like the ounces. Why that's not focusing so well, I don't know. There you go. But it is the same size as a 5 ml tube. Excuse me. I was looking to see if I had another 5 ml tube like really close at hand that I could just grab to show you in comparison. Oh, sorry guys, bumping the desk. I don't, but I do have a 15. So in relation, because there's a tube of 15 ml tube of Daniel Smith, and there's that guy. So it's a little 5 ml tube. Hi, JR. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Okay. So now we have information about Holbein and hello, Starving Artist Collective. These you cannot get within a set. You will have to buy them separately. And I wanted to make sure that I listed them separately because of that, so that you know this. Because if you see something and you love it, what you see today, maybe you want to try that. And JR, great question. Oh, there it comes. And this is watercolor. Watercolor. So, with the Holbein, I was like, these would not necessarily be the primaries I would choose, which I've shown you my primary palette. I've shown you my palette before. My Daniel Smith palette, where I actually chose a split primary. I like having a split primary palette. I like having warm, three cool of red, red hues, blues, and yellows. And also, I like having the warm and the cold because you can get better mixes. And I also like them to be single pigment colors because then I can get nice clean mixes. And I'm going to do a video all about those. So these, while these were not necessarily the colors I would have chosen for my primaries if that was all I could have. Now, because right now I'm going on the basis of this is all I can have, because these are what came in my box. So what if you could only have 3 colors? And the other thing, see, thank you. I wish I could take credit. These came to me in the May 22 Paletful Pack box. But what if I could only have, and I'm going to put some of these in the wells here. What if I could only have 3 colors? Or how about, how many of you, like I know a lot of us have like full set syndrome. We see all the pretty colors and we have to have all the things. But how many go to, let me try 1 or 2 first before I dive in, so I know if I like it? Because honestly, with the amount of stuff that has been accumulating and has been sent to me and that I still have to share with you that is in the studio, it's really been making me think about that a lot lately. And I wanted to be sure to kind of make that point. I haven't tried Holbein watercolors. I've tried Holbein gouache, and I've tried Holbein acrylic gouache. And I've tried, now I'm going to try the Holbein watercolors. I have the Holbein colored pencils, only a few, but I haven't gone there yet. Holbein is expensive. I don't know that I would say it's not necessarily. I guess that's kind of subjective, right? Because what's expensive to one person may not be to another. It's not going to be. It's not going to rival the cost of like a paint from Superior. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not going to be. They're artist quality. These are their artist quality watercolors, and as such, I think they're priced. They're right in there with a lot of the others as far as the price range that you would expect to pay for an artist grade product. Agree with me, disagree with me, that's okay. Like I said, pricing I think is subjective, because we're all in different places. So, but what if I say, yeah, it's about the same as Daniel Smith. I would agree. Yeah, see, I would agree with that. Very similar. Now, what if, let me just put these, I'm going to put that here. And this, I meant to, before I did that, I had paused so I could turn this over. This is the, see, I did that so that I'm going to make a mess. That's all right. The Eldejon palette. I'm like, I wrote it down. It's in the description. It is an Eldejon palette. It was the first word I knew I was going to have a problem remembering. It's an Eldejon palette, and this palette is actually by Art Alternatives. Creative Mark also makes one very similar. Now, the thing about this palette is you're supposed to be able to, if you get these, you can put your watercolors in here, if they dry, whatever, and you can stack these without it affecting the colors that you have in them. I've considered maybe, if I like this one, maybe getting another to kind of put as a studio palette, because you guys have seen my ceramic one that actually has the colors. Oh, you guys can't see me, so you don't know what I'm pointing to. It actually has the colors from this piece that we're working on right here, in the gouache. And so that, I either want like 2 of those ceramic palettes or maybe something like this. I don't know. We're going to see. And welcome, Jessica. Right. Yes. Yes. So that's a great idea. And so Cat's Art Picks, that comment, I am going to say that I absolutely agree with 15 ml tubes being the better value in any brand. The larger the tube, the better the value you're going to get. While of course their cost is more than what you'd pay for a 5 ml tube, the cost per ml, if you would, is much better as you get larger. But that said, I really wanted to think about what if, and I'm gonna put my, I would have to move this. If I decide to put other colors in with this, I'm gonna have to move it. But for today, because I knew I was gonna be mixing colors and wanting to show you guys stuff, I'm gonna just put my red, which is actually opera, in this top section. And then I'm going to do my blue, which is peacock blue, in the next section. And we're going to mix some of these because here it is, right? I want to try it. I am only going to buy 3 colors. So I have 3. And the permanent yellow light right there. Okay. Those come out of the tube really nice. I did not get any extra binder that came out first. So I like that. My tubes, like I said, my tubes were a little beaten up, but you know, they're still fine. Let's real quick talk about the brushes that I have today. So I have, this one is the Simmons, it's a Robert Simmons Sapphire. And this is a number 6 round. This came in that same Paletful Pack box from May of 22. So you see that there. It says S85. That's the series. And these, just in case, for those of you out there who like to stay synthetic, these are a blend of Kolinsky and synthetic fibers. So if that matters to you, just to make sure that you're aware. Okay, so that is a number 6 round. I don't have, well, I have it behind me, of course, because I have my silver black velvet, my larger oval wash there if I needed to quick wash the page. But for the most part, as far as painting wise, I just want to use these today and try them out. But let's talk about the second brush. I was interested. I found this fascinating. So this brush is a Princeton Summit. And it is a liner. And this is the Princeton's 6850 series. So, wow. That's odd, George. Sounds like it's like processing a lot then. Okay, so there's the brush right there, okay? And, oh, that's great. Great to know. Oh, sorry. Oh, whatever reason, it stopped scrolling again. Okay. So you've had Robert Simmons brushes that have lasted for 20 years. So wonderful, because that's what this one here, our round number 6, is a Robert Simmons. And that was that specifically the Sapphire or a different one? So, oh, and JR said that Holbein was teacher recommended. Or is teacher recommended. How's that? 3 or 6 primaries, and we learn to mix. Absolutely. I think that is like, convenience colors are wonderful. Don't get me wrong. Convenience colors are wonderful. I have a ton of them. I love it. I also like single pigment colors. And yeah. Anyways, it's great. Everybody should definitely learn to mix because it's going to help you so much. So Princeton Summit. Let's get a little history on this brush. This brush, the Princeton Summit, acrylic and watercolor. And this was designed specifically for fluid acrylics. You see me looking down because I made notes, because if you guys think I just remember all of this right off the top of my head, no. It would work very well with watercolor. And I'm curious to see, how does the paint flow off of this brush? Very curious. But some fun facts about this brush is that it was invented by, I wrote it down, and I'm going to butcher it, and my extreme apologies. Naohide Takamoto. Naohide. Again, apologies. I'm sure I did not pronounce it correctly. Takamoto. And Takamoto was not only a 5th generation brush maker, he is the grandson to the person who invented Taklon. So there you go. This brush went through 7 years of research before Princeton released it. And they have a complete range of sizes available. So again, link for those is definitely in the description. And I believe those were all the fun facts I had for you. But all right, let's put these aside. I may still need some colors. First off, let's look at, do I have my cutter handy? I do. Now I'm going to bring you down to the desk, full screen on the desk, so that you can see that better. There we go. All right. I'm going to take my cutter, and actually these I need to move off my desk. Those are for something that's coming. I was trying them. New colors, new product. All right, Jamie, if you don't get back before we're done, have a great rest of your day. I'm just going to cut this real quick. It may be in half, it may not, it doesn't matter. I want to be able to do one side for a swatch and one side for a different kind of test. Because I want to test how it is going to react with water. The paper, that is. I mean, a lot of water. So what I'm going to do, I have, of course, one of my little mats that I can tape a piece of this to. Maybe we'll do it that way. We'll do one here because then it'll tape better. And this one we're going to test in a different way of using watercolor to help prevent buckling that I want to share with you. And again, see, I paused to look at something. And I think that's what's making my chat stop scrolling. Oh, okay. They aren't the Sapphire collection. All right. Okay. It should scroll again. I'm going to show you we're going to look at 2 different ways. And so whatever I do, I'm going to throw a lot of water at both of these. And I had an idea for one, and this is just my little washi tapes stuck in a little box. I've shown that before. I'm going to tape this one down. So this one we're going to tape. And so, you know, in my thumbnail, I said, can I do like with only 3 colors? And of course you can, right? Of course you can. You can mix all kinds of colors, and we're going to see what exactly we can mix from these. Sorry, I pushed on that bounce the camera. If you guys felt a little shaken. Okay. There we go. So we've got a piece taped down. And that is just half a sheet of the Vision watercolor paper by Strathmore. And then with this piece, so we're going to come back to this one. This one is all taped down. And we're going to come back and we're going to paint and we're going to throw a lot of water at this. I'm just making sure that I've got that all locked on there. I'm going to set this aside for now. One of the things I want to do, I have all kinds of crazy washi tapes. And these, I don't know if these ones are, this one in particular is or is not acid free, but for the purposes of this, I am not too concerned. And if you were concerned about your washi tape, of course, just get a tester pen, test it. Test it on both sides, right? Because the tape sticks to, so if you had a roll of washi tape, let me just grab a roll of washi tape. Oh, okay. So you roll a washi tape because your adhesive is stuck to the tape itself. So get a pH tester pen, which I thought I had one sitting right here. Anyways, I'm not going to waste your time looking for one. I do have one right over there, and you can test it right on this side. If you see marks, then you know that definitely that side is not good because it's touched this. And you can also test it here. So just, if you're concerned because you're creating artwork that you want to sell and you want to make sure that everything that is touching your artwork is pH neutral, then that's a good way to test your tape. They do make washi tape that is acid free, and I did share that once before. So anyhow, okay, what I want to do with this, we're gonna swatch our colors and see what colors we can create with the these three colors, and then we're going to paint something and we're gonna see. So I am hopeful as well, but here's what I want to do. How many of you will this let me work this way? It's not going to be too much of a glare with the lights. Hopefully not. Just because I want to show you guys something that I'm going to do. We will paint. Now this is distilled water. Distilled water. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some water in the tray. And that's why I grabbed this, so I could do it quickly and just some water in the tray. So if I have, I'll end up using this water for whatever. All right. So there's water here. I don't know if I'll need more or not, but probably not because it's tipped and I can easily coat this. If I really wet the back of my paper, and I can even wet both sides. This is like, some people will pre-stretch their paper this way. So they will give it a bath in some water. Distilled water would be recommended. Especially if you're, and why distilled water? Distilled water is recommended because if you are concerned about things that can affect your artwork over its lifetime, if you have certain minerals in your water. So let's think about our tap water. The easiest way for you to know, should you use distilled water? Go to your bathroom. How many of you have to make sure that you are constantly on top of cleaning the bathroom because maybe water that's left sitting changes color along that, like the edge of the tub or on the wall of the shower or whatever. So hard water, different things that are in your water. If they can turn your shower colors, how could they not also affect your art? So there's the thought process of distilled water, because all of that will not be in there. So one of the ways that we can do this is sometimes people will pre-stretch their artwork. They'll soak the paper and they'll get the gummed tape and they will tape it down to a board and they will let that dry. Now, if you use gummed tape and you tape it down, just know that unlike masking or the artist tape, Holbein makes soft tape, which is amazing. If you have not tried Holbein soft tape, and actually, one moment, it is not linked in the description, but I did run away to grab that because I actually did have that right here. Mine right now is, my other one is in my go bag because I took it with me. This is made by Holbein, and it is Focus soft tape. This is wonderful for your color not bleeding under your masking. So if there's something, if you're looking for a good version, that is wonderful. I definitely recommend. Yeah, you know what? I would say some have, but I was just looking at a few things. Like I shared a post earlier today about the Derwent drawing pencils. I saw them, happened to come across them on Amazon, and they were less than what Blick was selling them for. And anyways, I shared that if anybody was interested. But so some I've seen seem like they're coming down, but others, not so much. So if they do like this, if you use the gum tape, just know you cannot remove that from your edge like you can, say, a washi tape or an acid-free artist tape or the Holbein soft tape. You can't remove that. It's there. It dries, it's permanent, it's staying. You have to cut it off, the artwork. So you're going to lose that edge. So there you go, like just to know that's what will happen if you choose that. I don't think one is better or worse than the other, but just so you know. Once this is wet, if we wet both sides of our paper, we can take that. Okay, I think we can agree that both sides are quite wet. And I'm going to just let that kind of drip off, and hopefully it will work just fine. We're just going to set that right there on the desk. The point of this exercise, just a second, guys. I'm trying to very carefully move this tray that had that water. I should just pour it off into my, I'll do that after in case I need to wet this again. Afterwards, I'll just pour it into one of my water wells. So this right here, now that should not buckle. Now that that is nice and wet, that should not buckle. If I had, and then this has some texture, but you see the water there. It should just sit just like that and stay. And I'm going to leave it, and we are going to paint on it just like that when we get there. And then we will see, like we'll let that dry and see, does it buckle? Does this work better? I haven't. And so just so you know too, for Kat's art picks, because we keep talking about the watercolor paper, I haven't tried this with the Canson. I'm very curious to try this with the Canson and see, does it help it settle and not buckle? I don't know. Let's look at these colors. So first, let's just look at them on their own. So this is going to be Opera. Let me write that down. So we have Holbein, and these are the HWC watercolors. And we've got Opera. And we have Peacock Blue. And Permanent Yellow Light. Okay, I don't know how well those are showing up. That was kind of a fine tip there. All right, let's look at these in their mass tone. So my brush was damp. Perfect. Thank you. That sounds, I can't wait to hear what happens. So my brush was just damp and I'm just coming straight in, grabbing the color. So getting its mass tone, right? That undiluted color. Oh, you know what else I did not do for you guys? We need to see it. Just a second. My brain is like, I want to see the colors. So I'm going a little faster than, whoa. How about a black line so that we can see the transparency of these colors? I need to get one that's thicker, so I can do a nice thick black line. I probably have one. I just don't have one handy here on the desk. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to do this again, just so I can get onto where that line is. And let's see if I can't zoom you in just a little bit so that you're seeing more of that. I'm going to go just a bit, and I'm just going to slide that down there. There we go. All right. Okay. So again, and then it's not wanting to come off the brush very well because the brush sat there and was dry. I'm just going to grab a tiny bit of water. Look at how bright that color is. So bright. I just really want to see. I did touch the water, so then technically I'm not at the mass tone anymore, am I? All right, there we go. Now I'm going to grab a little bit more, just dabbing into the water. That was a lot of water. That was a big old drip came off that brush. I'm going to rinse that out. Grab some clean water. And I'm going to start at the other end and work my way to it. I want to see how much it's going to flow. Oh, wow. Isn't that the one that everybody with the Faber-Castell, I was just seeing chat in the group about, or was that on George's video? I just saw a chat somewhere about Faber-Castell being like a pencil sharpener that was good for pastels. Is this the same pencil? Is this the same sharpener that was being spoken about? This inquiring mind just wants to know. All right. Next, I'm going to go for the peacock blue. And again, I'm just kind of like wiping the water off my brush. So I come in here and just grab this at its mass tone. And put a little bit of that there. Look at that blue. Oh, I'm feeling this is going to be gorgeous. I'm just tapping into the water. I'm going to let that extra drop come off here this time, not over here, so that I can then come in and let's get that. Let's see that color. Now I'm just going to rinse my brush out. Yeah, Cat's Pick said yes. Same sharpener. Thinks it's the same sharpener. Yeah, JR, isn't that gorgeous? That color is beautiful. All right. Just coming in with the clean water. All right, and we're gonna make contact. I just want to see where it's going to go. And that's, I don't know if I just didn't have enough water in there or do these just not take off? Well, that certainly did because I saw it push back. You see it like pushed the bloom back that way. And I don't want the higher concentration to be going that way. I want to see if we can get it to travel. Like you see how this one is. Next we have our permanent yellow light. So again, just tapped my brush off so I can get this in its mass tone. Or I wiped my brush off, excuse me, on the edge of my water well. All right, just going to tap that in there. Let any extra drop come off there. Now, same thing. I'm just going to rinse my brush out. Yeah, it doesn't. I'm seeing that. Definitely seeing that also, JR. Holbein, it's not core. Okay, so if anybody is familiar with core, and I was just talking on core golden. Has anybody seen? Oh, have you guys seen the new ones that they're getting ready to release? I was like, please let me know. I signed up to be made aware when they are available. Have you seen the new ones? I think I tagged Tara. All right, let's see if that moves. Let's see how much it moves. They're going to have a granulating set. There's a granulating set coming. And I think, see, and you say that, and I absolutely, right? Because each has its place. You might be creating a painting and you don't want that color to take off. You want to know that if I put that color down, that color is going to stay where I put it and it's not going to travel far. And so that is something that, like, doing these tests, it's so important to know how far is it going to travel. You've got to learn your watercolors because they're so, I think each brand is so unique and they're so different. And definitely, how far can you take it? How far, what's going to happen? So important, because that would be the difference between grabbing, say, my core, or if I got more Holbein, grabbing the Holbein, or grabbing my Daniel Smith. You know, do I want granulation? Holbein is ground very, their pigments are ground very, very fine. You think I did? Oh, I did. Yeah, I tagged you. I did. It was on Instagram. I think it was on Instagram. And that's why I tagged you, because I knew you were there. So. And we had been talking about other granulating sets. So when I saw that core was coming out, I was like, oh, I can't wait. Can't wait to see. And I don't have more information, but as soon as I do have more information, and I don't know what I don't know what it's going to cost. You know, they're not even released yet, but I am looking forward to finding out. All right. So you see, I've just put down a circle of water. Let's see what, and I'm pre-wet this paper because I'm going to want them to travel and mix. We're going to see what kind of color we can mix. We're going to make ourselves a color wheel and see what kind of colors we can get from this. So I'm going to start with my opera up here in one spot. We're just going to get that really in there and let it kind of swoosh out a bit. And it's going to keep traveling, and that's okay. We are fine with that. And then I'm going to take the peacock blue. And I'm going to go about a third of the way around. And I'm going to pop that right in there. These are going to meet, and I am going to overlap them. I just want to get these on there first. Isn't that blue? That blue is, it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Now it's not a single pigment color. So also, if that's important to you, like if I wanted a set of, that's why I said these would not be the three I would choose for my, if I was just going to pick 3 and do primaries, I would pick 3 colors that I wanted as primaries that were more, that were single pigments. Because when you're mixing, if you're mixing 3 colors, especially like when you're first starting out with watercolor, if you're mixing those colors, you're going to want, we're going to let them overlap. You're going to want them to, it's going to be easier to get muddy colors. That's what, I'm sorry, the words are not coming. You're definitely going to want them to be able to make some nice clean mixes. And if they are multi-pigment colors, I'm not mixing only 2 together here. This was a multi-pigment color. So I'm mixing 2 pigments in with this yellow. That means I'm also going to be mixing 2. I'm also going to be mixing 2 in with the opera, which itself has 2. It's not a single either. All right, so we see we've got like that kind of cool blue. Then we come in here and we've got that green mix in the middle. And I did rinse my brush out before I came back because I didn't want to bring more of that blue there. I want to just kind of blend those how they were. So there you see that. I mean, they're beautiful colors, but if I could only choose 3, that's why these wouldn't be the 3 I would choose. All right, so I'm just going to come back in. I did put a lot of that pink there so that I would be able to come back. And I'm just going to bring that through now. And let's see what we get when they mix. And then as we get more into the blue, and again, I'm rinsing this out. I'm going to bring a little bit more of that so I can start up here again. Just kind of pull through. And then I'm going to go the other way. And I'm going to bring a little bit more blue. So I have my mass tone still here. And now I just cleaned my brush out, tapped it on a paper towel so it wasn't too wet, because I don't want to add water. I just want to kind of let these pigments blend and do their thing. All right, look at the colors we're getting. Okay, now, wrong one to rinse in. Now let's see. I don't know as far as orange goes, because this looks pretty cool. I was expecting I'd get decent purples. And here, I don't know. I think this is like a really warm yellow compared. And I'm seeing some beading. Can you guys see that? It beads. If this palette beads, I'm not going to be thrilled when I go to mix out here. When we're painting, I would not, because I went through all that with my Meeden palette. Was not a fan. I did recently scrub that one, my Meeden palette, to see if I could get it to stop. See if I can get it to stop beating up. And it has to an extent, but ooh, that's very... All right, well, what do you guys think of that? And then I'll come back the other way. I don't think I got that completely clean. Going with more of the yellow than the opera. All right, so there is our range here as far as what can we do with to create orange or purple or greens. So let me just kind of bring that up so you guys can see that. Now, the other thing that I think is interesting to know is, how does it react? Let's try this. We're going to put down some water. And drop some of that color in. Get a nice wash there. And then, of course, I have the Tiki Man. Let's see. How does that react with some salt? Okay, so I'm just going to throw that on there so you guys can see that. I will lift on this after the fact. Remind me, and I will lift that for you to see. Is it staining? And let's go with the peacock blue. I agree. I absolutely agree, JR. Better the paper. Paper is so important. And that was one thing. That is the one thing that I can honestly say. When I first started my journey with watercolor, I had no idea just how important the paper was in comparison. And I will also say, like, if you're watching an artist and they're doing something, they're getting a result, and you're like, why can't I get that? I'm doing what I think is the same thing, and why am I not getting that result? Look at what they're using and look at what you're using. Are they using the same? Okay, that's all. Just want to stick to my fingers. Are they using the same materials as you, or are they using something completely different? Are you using the same kind of brush? Maybe it's the brush that they're using, the paper that they're using. If they're using, so here's a perfect example. It could be the paint that they're using. If you see an artist and they're painting something, maybe they're just painting, just a painting, not going over, maybe not reviewing a specific brand. It's just a painting that they're doing. You're trying to do it. You're trying to follow that tutorial, or you're trying to just kind of paint along because you want to practice something that you saw them do. And you can't get that result. I'm getting ready to put salt down, and I haven't even put the yellow in there yet. This is what happens when I talk and go to paint at the same time. I had a lot of paint on that brush. That's all right. If you're seeing them, like, say that they're using, we were talking about core. Say they're using core and they're doing this painting where they're adding this color. And it's beautiful, and they throw this wet wash down, and they're like, oh, and then you just tap in some color here, and the tree just paints itself, and it just takes off. And then you do that, and you go, well, I tapped in the color. My tree's not taking off. It's just sitting there. What am I doing wrong? You're probably not doing anything wrong. You might just be using a different paint. And I can tell you right now, just by what I've seen so far, if I did that with Holbein, and I did the same thing with, excuse me, and I did the same thing with core, wow, you're going to see such different results, because this is not going to act anything like that. And I can show you, because I do have that it is handy. If you want to see what I'm talking about, I'll grab my core and my palette's right there and show you. But some people are going to get discouraged. And when that happens, like, it's not that you're doing anything wrong. You're just not using the same supplies. So sometimes it is absolutely the supply. Or they may be getting this beautiful result. You know, you're using the same paint. Maybe you feel that the brush doesn't matter. And you're like, but it's just not happening. Like, I'm doing what they're doing. It's just, I can't get it. Maybe I'm just no good at what I'm doing. That's not necessarily the case. Maybe you're not using the same paper. And I have been saving arches because that's a granule of salt I don't want to leave on that paper. Perhaps they're using arches and you're using, right? Let's go back to the Canson XL. You are not going to get the same results. You are not. The color is not going to move as the same on the paper because they're not sized the same. They're not made of the same material. They're definitely, they're not textured the same. Like so many factors. So paper, so important. So important. Look at that. So the yellow, we're still seeing the yellow still starting to take on, but look at the effects we get with the salt in that. And now this is not dry yet, so I'm not going to come back and glaze for you a stripe over that so that you can see. I will come back to that. And then we'll look at our paper. And I can tell you right now, this has not lifted. This has not curled. I'm going to zoom that back out. Okay, because let's get some paint on some paper. So if I zoom you guys back out, I need to relocate this so that you can, nope. You can see. All right. This has not curled or buckled. It's just laying there flat. Now we haven't added more water and we haven't started painting, so. Joseph. I have tried alcohol inks. In fact, isn't that Teresa Mazzotti had sent me, wow. Pretty sure those are alcohol inks. They were, okay, I have to know. Just a second. The Daler Brownie FW and System 3. No, those are acrylic inks. Those are acrylic inks. Alcohol inks. I don't know. Why am I thinking? Maybe that answers no. Those were acrylic inks. What I was thinking was alcohol inks. Those were acrylic. Okay, answer may be, that might possibly be no. Sorry, guys. Oh my goodness. All right, let's come back over here where I can see you again. Actually, where I can see you. Like all of a sudden you can see me, so that means I can see you. It's all good. I'll be fine. All right, for this, I'm thinking, as we just set water, I'm gonna try alcohol inks and see what to do. I swear I have some, and I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on that, but I'm gonna set this aside because I want this to finish drying so I can glaze, and we can come back and lift and see why is that not wanting to. All right, and then we can come back and try to lift through here. I probably just moved my hand too fast, and see how they lift. Are they staining? So we'll find that out. I'm just gonna set it behind me for now because everything dries so quickly. I will not be surprised if those aren't dry very soon. Yeah, I did have alcohol pens. You're right. So yes, I've done that. That is absolutely correct. I did do that because I used those when I did the gnome and the mushroom. All right. Let's see if we can't mix some colors. Let's mix some colors in here. I'm going to want, for sure, I want a green. So where I had set this one, I'm just going to bring some blue over to that. Oh, that looks like a teal green. And I don't want to contaminate my yellow. Rinse that out. Grab some more yellow. That would be a gorgeous color, though. I probably should have put the green closer to over there, but it's whatever. There we go. Ooh, that's a nice green. It's a nice green also. That is staying flat as can be right now. I'm just putting a swatch of this green over here. Let me bring that back. We're going to keep using this. I'm going to put it where I can reach it. Look at that green. That's the green I just mixed up. So that is that. Now once I have it, once I have this mix, I should be able, in theory, I should be able to come back and remix this color if I needed more of it. As long as I have my swatch. Ooh, did you guys hear that? I didn't get a warning, but that was like a big thunder. Oops, that's my clean water. Just totally set me off. I was like, oh, that sounds like thunder. All right. I'm going to keep that right there for now. And I'm going to want, I'm thinking on this one, I'm going to do just some really loose, kind of like, I don't know. We're going to think flowers. I got my flower washi tape. We're going to think flowers. So we're going to do really loose, and we're going to do a lot of water. Okay. I'm catching just part of chat that we scroll through. I have no idea what you guys are now talking about. All right. On this one though, I want to do a gradient. I want to gradiate these colors down because to me, I'm just seeing like sunset on the water. Sunset, bring it down to water. Let's blend all three. We're going to start with like the pink. Let's go into the yellow, come back with the pink, come into the blue. That's what I'm thinking, because then we can throw a ton of water at this and see, is it going to warp, and how is it going to overall end up looking? So I'm just setting that swatch card kind of to the side, because as I mix some other colors, but when I do flowers, I'm going to want some greens, so, and some purples. And so we're going to mix a couple of those real quick. And I contaminated my clean water. So now I'm just going to go to my rinse well. You'll hear that. You're going to hear that swoosh here in a second because I'm just getting fresh water into that. So if you hear the weird noises, I don't know, the microphone might cut that out. All right. Now I have a place to get clean water. It's a little further away and I might not mess up and contaminate it by accident. So I'm going to take a little bit of this pink. Now I could take right from the tube, and I'm going to go over 2 spots. I could take right from the tube and I could just do a little bit of pink and a little bit of the blue and mix them together. I could also go like this so I don't contaminate it without having to rinse all the wonderful pigment that's in here out, and just grab my palette knife and then take that off of my palette knife. All right, so many different things. So many different things we can do. Ooh, nice. I like that purple. So that was maybe a little less than like a 50-50 mix. It was probably a little less than 50-50. And you see how that beads? I don't like it. I do not like that at all. Not at all. Not a fan of what that's doing. Like, you guys are talking about food and I am hungry. All right, I'm going with a little bit more pink. There we go. It's about a 50-50. Maybe a little slightly more pink than blue. Either way, let's see what we've got. I like it. I like it. We could always darken that up by tossing in a little extra blue, or lighten it with a little more pink, or just like make it shift rather. We can lighten it with a little bit of water. All right, so there are 2 colors that I just mixed up. Let's just play and have some fun. See what happens. See what happens. For on here, I just want wet on wet mixing. I want to see how are these going to do when I mix wet and wet. You like that purple? I liked that purple too. Yeah. And if we look, like it's really, if we look at where it came in, like over here, we're pretty close, about here. So about 50-50, thereabouts. All right, I'm gonna leave this because it's damp, but it's not dry, but it's damp. Like there's no pooling water. It's not even glossy. I'm gonna do that last because I really want to see how's it going to react? I probably should do it now because that's the whole thing with it being wet on the back. The reason you make it black. I'm thinking like abstract. I want to be able to try this out. Let's start there. Let's see where we go with this. Let's just see where we go. Oh, you know what I did not mix up? Is like an orange. I want to see what we can get like with an orange type color, which we know on the thing here. So I'm going to go 2 over from that. I'm going to put that yellow in there. And then again with my palette knife that I have cleaned off. Actually, there's not a whole lot in there, but that's okay. I've got a little bit of pink. Is that too much? Who's to say? Most likely, but ooh, look at how that turned that red. Oh, I like that. So that was a lot more of the pink versus the yellow. Let me show you. I need just a dab of water and get that to flow off my brush. My brush felt very dry. Look at that one. So that was a lot more of the opera than the yellow to get that. Look at that. There we go. I'm going to leave it that way. I'm just going to leave it that way. Now, and the reason that I'm going to leave it that way is because if I have this beautiful orange here, this nice warm red tone, you rinse this out, wipe this off. Here it is 70, and I don't remember what it was earlier, but I hear thunder out there, and it is getting dark, and it should not be this dark this early. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not hearing. Oh yeah, the road looks wet, so I can see kind of out the front. It's dark. You see, I'm like casting more shadows. It's dark. All right, so the reason that I did what I just did was because if I want more of an earthy green, can you guys, yeah, you guys can see, I don't have that last well with anything in it. I'm going to mix right out here. If I want that green, which is very bright, that's very bright right now, right? Grab a little bit more of that. And if I want to take that and get it a little more earth tone, I'm just going to grab a touch of this orange, which if I don't contaminate my paint here, there we go. And now I take that green from being this nice bright, and now we're a lot more like an earth tone or neutral. 89 and humid there. Oh, it's 70 here. We had like 90 degrees in May, which is like unheard of. And aside from that, I'm sure it's coming. Maybe. Ah, so what do you guys think of that green? I like it. I'm thinking maybe some stems in that. So let's see how this one flows. So what I'm going to do, is it going to work? It's not going to work. I don't know. I've wet the brush. I'm going to grab this green color and can you guys see that? I don't want to disturb this. I could go right on top of it. I could. We're just going to go on top of it for now. And I'm just going to, how long? This paper's dry. So I'm going to bring that back down a little bit more for you so you can see it a little better. So this paper is dry. This lens, I don't like the lens that came on this camera. It always seems like it's not focusing well. That could have just kept going. I do like the way it's flowing off. I like it. I can certainly, well, get very thin lines, very thin lines. This probably would have been better with a darker to show you guys. Right? We don't care if they cross over. This, I probably needed to make this darker. It's just going to be all abstracty anyways. This was just to test the liner. Okay. I like it. I do like the way the water flows off of it. I will definitely, we will put that to use some more in something else and see. Now that stain, of course that stain, those were white. And now they're more, see the green? It stained them. That's okay. Oh, there goes the thunder again. Let's grab this guy. And so now I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna just do a wet wash over it. Oh yeah. And of course, Jessica, we have the MeWe. We have the group on MeWe, and we also have the group is also on Facebook. So wherever's most convenient to you. If you would like to join the art group, we would love to see what you have to share. And normally I would not be sitting here trying to do a wash over this paper with a 6 round. And because I'm not touching the paint, I'm just grabbing my silver black velvet because we don't need to sit here forever watching me try to wet down this paint. This paper rather. So I'm just going to wet this because again, we wanted a really wet wash to see what the paper was going to do, if it was going to buckle, if it was going to lift up, how it was going to react when we throw all, and I am soaking it. I'm soaking it. Like so that you guys, can you see, like, I can't get the lights to, like, it's wet. It's definitely, like, it's dripping right now. That's how much water. We have to put this to the test. We have to soak it. For those who like really wet, juicy, that wet and wet. I do like though how that, I mean, you look at the lines that I put on there, they got a little lighter, but staining power, I would say so. That did not like take those out, and there was not much time between putting them on. So that was wet on dry first, which I knew wet on dry, if I did that first, it would hold some of that color better. So you see how there, look how glassy that is. Very, very wet, but it's not pulling and running down. Like, there's a little bit of water gathering at the, can you guys see it? Not really. There's a little bit of water gathering at the base here. I am seeing very minimal. Let's give it a time. Let's give it time to suck it in. Let's give it time to suck it in. I am seeing some buckling, but remember, we did not wet the back of this one first. This one was just dry, taped like a lot of us work. Tape down a dry piece of watercolor paper and go, right? And then we get upset. Oh, it is pouring now. And then we get upset because it buckles and warps and gets crazy. Okay, now, can you guys see it now? Look at see it buckling? So it's in and it's popping out here. See it? So it is. It's buckling some. It's buckling some, and I think we'll really see how it's buckling and moving. And right now, this is starting to lift, and that's because it's getting dry. I will wet that again. I will wet this again so we have a good, accurate test if it's wet on the back if we wet the back of our paper first. So just so you know. All right, we're gonna grab some color in this wet wash, and it's just looking where I have some of these. And I'm just going to let the watercolor do its thing and take off. And I do like this pink. Now, I will say that this is probably, it does say quinacridone. I don't know how fugitive it would be. I didn't give you guys that. Tara said they get too much sun there. They have lobster skin. Well, let me tell you what. We just spent the weekend at the lake, and I was a little frustrated. And I use sunscreen. So I very much use sunscreen because I have issues with my skin. If the sun gets on my, when I'm in the sun, the UV is touching my skin, it'll start stinging. But if I put sunscreen on, then it's not so bad. And of course, if it does bother me too much, then I just cover up or get out of the sun. So I had sunscreen on, and we were at the lake for the weekend. I looked in the mirror. Funny story. It was Saturday evening. I had come in. I went to get changed because we were going to go to dinner. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, what the heck did I get on my face? And I probably spent the next 5 minutes trying to wash the new freckles that appeared off of me. So apparently this year, I don't turn into a lobster. No. This isn't tan. This is my freckles have finally connected. Yeah, I don't tan. My freckles connect. For sure. For sure. Let's drop in some yellow centers. Hey, maybe this one's a yellow flower with a pink center. Why not? Ooh, look at how that, oh, I like that. Okay, that was like a happy accident, Mr. Ross. There we go. Oh, I like it. I like it. Just throwing some stuff in there. Yes, that is true. There are medications that make you photosensitive, for sure. That is not the case for myself right now, but that definitely can happen. I wonder, I want to see, I want some green, and I want some of this more orange. Yep. And I'm going to take a little bit of blue. It's probably way too much blue. Definitely was. I don't like how this is beading. I don't know. I will have to scrub these parts with like a magic eraser and see, does it knock that off? I would hope so. There we go. There we go. I want it kind of like a burnt sienna because I'm thinking, right, maybe we have a few. I could have done that. They were blooming at the lake. I was just thinking because I was talking about the lake, I had some black-eyed Susans were, you know, they look like the daisies, but they have the brown centers and then the yellow petals. Like that. Let's do some of this brown. And like, how easy are these? I just want to see how it spreads. This is not really to, hey, let's paint a beautiful picture. No, this is, let's just throw some paint into a very wet wash and see what we get. Oh my gosh, I could have spent a week there and not have been ready to leave. I was definitely not ready to go. It was like the day that we were packing up, because I had gotten it for Lou for his birthday. We rented the cabin. My parents came. It was like a 3-bedroom cabin out on the lake. So my parents came and we went out there for, it was one of Lou's birthday gifts. And it was like, when it came time to pack up, like everybody's like ready to go and they're getting up on Sunday. And well, I was like, I wanted to get up and get some sunrise pictures. Oh, I know myself. I am not a morning person by any means. I appreciate Starving Artist Collective being here because I know it's like we start at like what, 5 o'clock in the morning your time. The fact that you are here like blows my mind because I definitely, nope. How I managed it, I knew what time sunrise was. I did not set an alarm, and I think I shared some of those over on Patreon. I woke up, I couldn't sleep. I was like, well, I'm up. I don't know what I'm doing up at this hour, but I guess I'm supposed to go see the sunrise. I walked out and started walking towards the water, and the fog that was just like sitting on the lake, because the water I was surprised how warm the water was. The water was so warm, but it was cool outside. So there's all this fog just coming up off the lake. And then, of course, it rolled through just in time to be a nuisance for when the sun was kind of poking through. But I still got some really amazing pictures. But I could, if money was no object, I could live anywhere I wanted to live. I would live alongside water. It would either be the ocean, if money was no object, I would have a house right on the ocean, which of course, eventually becomes part of the ocean. Hopefully not before my lifetime. We've seen a lot of, gosh, there's stuff we used to go to on Cape Cod that it's not even there anymore just because it's gone. The ocean has claimed it. All right, it's our little flowers. It's still spraying and moving. And this was basically just to see, oh, let me show you a neat little, here's a, in case you didn't know. So if I take some green, right? Let's say I wanted to do like a flower bud. Now I know this is wet, so I'm going to go here. I could do it up here, but it's not so wet. I'll do another one there in a minute. If I do like a flower bud, where I do like the shape of a bud, yeah, it's not going to, all right, maybe I better go up top. I don't think it's showing up so well. So let's just say I had like, look, here's a bud. Right, just bring that down. And then I come in with, say, oh, let's make it a purple flower. I put that at that end. It's just going to blend. It's naturally going to look like the color the petals are starting to escape. And this one didn't, because the green didn't really show up so right. But if you didn't know, that's an easy way to do those. So it looks like your color's just starting to emerge. And when I pulled back from that pink, it moved and put it in the green, and that's what made me think of that. So and I can do one that's like let's do one that is pink. Just put a dab of that here. And it'll spread on its own. But you see how that one's moving? Okay, I'm going to leave this one because this is plenty wet and it is plenty buckled up. And I will show you, because that was the whole point of this, not to make our little crazy flowers, but you see, I don't want to tip it too much because I don't want to move that color, but because you see that's really still wet. So there's what I was talking about, our purple. That bud kind of blended in because there's a lot of water there. So this is really, see that? This is really buckled off that paper. Yep, it's really buckling up. It's like it's concave here, rounding up over there, and then headed back down in this direction. So in that situation, very much like what the Canson would do to me. I'm going to set this aside. This guy, which you know we had wet, he's pretty dry now. Oh, you did. And it was, see, I looked on there earlier today and I couldn't find it because I would have linked that below. But for the 9x12, so what I'm seeing there for price, because I am not supposed to say prices because things can change being an affiliate. But what you just said there, Cat's Art Picks, that same size, I believe is cheaper on Blick, which that's the link that I have in the description below. Less than that. Which is why I said this is very affordable, like a couple dollars less than that. All right. So let's get this water back here without hopefully spilling it everywhere. And now I'm going to set this aside because I'm going to pour the water that's left right into my jar. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the water again. You know how wet I had it the first time. We're just going to let that be wet. I'm going to let the excess drip off of there. Okay. I don't want it super drippy, but I do want it wet. And this was still damp, so it's not going to take much. And now I'm going to take it and I'm going to set it on here. Wait a minute, but actually, because I want the back. I don't care if my desk gets wet. I have that blotter there. I'm going to pour this off into this jar so that hopefully I don't spill it everywhere. I'm surprised I did not just spill that everywhere. Okay. So now, there we go. My silver black velvet that I used to do the wet wash on that. This is very, very pooled. I don't know if I can, I'm going to hopefully not wiggle you guys too much. If I zoom in this way, I don't know if you can see, like, you see the water on there? Like that, that's very wet. I will stop that from shaking because that makes me crazy. I think it's fixed. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go over this. If I pull it right off the paper, I don't mind. I want this to be wet, but not pooling so that I can go right into painting. So now not taped down. It's the back side's wet. It is, again, not buckling. It has laid nice and flat. Will the Canson act just like this if I treated it like this? That is possible. That is possible. There you go. See, that's why I checked, and that's why I included the Blick link, because it definitely is less over there. And I know that they have, like, you get away. I couldn't find it. Couldn't find it on Amazon. So great if you were able to actually find that one. Earlier, there wasn't one available. Things change all the time. So, all right. I know that you have, like, there's shipping with Blick unless you're getting other things. Sometimes it's better to pay the extra $1 or $2 and go with Amazon and have no shipping so that you don't buy extra stuff just to get that. How many of you do that? Oh my gosh, I do that. How many of you buy extra things just because, oh, if I just get this, then I won't have to pay that shipping? Because if I'm going to spend that money anyway, I might as well get something for it, right? Yeah. Anyhow. All right. I'm going to start with the, I think I want to, we'll just start with a little bit of the pink. Why not? Here, I'm just thinking sunset and water. Now look at, do you see that right there? That is my paper. So you definitely have to be careful. I did this twice. I wouldn't recommend doing it twice. Do it the first time. Do it when you're ready to paint like this, because I wet that twice because I waited. I waited too long. I should have used this one first. And that is having some, my paper's degrading a little bit right there. You see the dark. That's paper. That's from the paper. Would we have had that if we went right in immediately? I would say that I don't think so. And if we did it just the first time, I don't think we would. And I'm going to take some of this orange that I've mixed up. Not even rinsing my brush out this time because I want these to blend. Yeah, see that I'm not liking. You see all the marks, and if you can't, let me get you there. Oh, yeah. Now I just want to make sure that it really focuses on that paper. That is paper pilling. So that is something that should be important to you to know, because too much, and that paper's degraded. I barely wiped over it. I mean, I brushed it once. One time I went over it with my Silver Black Velvet, which is not a rough brush by any, oops, sorry guys, not a rough brush by any means. So, and I am not pressing hard with this one either. It was just pilling up. I would do the test again and do it just one time, wetting the back, putting it down, because I don't think you'd have so much of that. I'm going to bring this back to the pink so that I can come into blue. So these colors definitely, oh, you know what I didn't do? Oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't put the yellow in the middle. Can we lift? I hate to do that because I know this paper's already crying and angry at me. That doesn't lift that great. Yeah, that does not lift that great. What brush am I using? Great question. I know that you were not here with us at the beginning, JR. This is a, oh, this one, yeah, we did talk about this. This is the Robert Simmons Sapphire number 6. So this is a Kolinsky synthetic blend, this brush. Again, not a rough brush, so I would not expect this to be like tearing up paper. I know that this is because it is a cellulose-based paper, and I pushed it right to its limits. I soaked it in water. I let it sit there. It was still damp. I soaked it again so I could make it stick to the desk. And that's why I'm getting this. So, hi, D. Lynn. That is okay. All right. So see, look at the pills, and it's just, ugh. a mess. I'm going to show you. We're going to do this again. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a real quick test for you to show you. I don't think that this was because I pushed this paper too far, which I don't think is a bad thing. Know how far you can push your supplies. Know how much water it can handle before like that. I mean, I can do that where you're not even going to see the bristles splay out and it's still pilling it up. So yeah. And that is definitely, I'm so glad that I did this. I'm so glad that I did this because now you know, like for sure, you know exactly what that's going to do. I'm going to bring the blue in. Let's get a little bit of this purple coming. Yeah, see, look at, and that, I mean, if I was trying to do a painting and this was happening, guys, I wouldn't be continuing right now. Like I'd be stopping, but I just want you to see this. I pushed it. I pushed it really hard. Oh, you know what? Let's get a little, I have my wax right here. Why not? I said this was water, right? That's what I was envisioning. We had some water. Throw a little bit of wax resist on there. See what happens. Let's get a little teal. Of course, I did that when it was wet. Is it going to stop it? Probably not. I wasn't even thinking about that. Wait, you just did that and the paper was wet. I don't know that it's going to do anything. Throwing a little green in there. It's like really at this point, if I want like some highlights from some water, I should probably just dry brush and leave some of it white because I was not thinking ahead with doing. I did think about it, but not like before and I just ruined that green because I had blue in my water. I mean, it didn't ruin it. I just changed the green that I have there now to this more teal, which I really don't mind. Yeah, we'll look at that. All right. I'm going to actually throw a little bit of this up here. Why not? I mean, can I do any harm to this masterpiece? I don't think so at this point. All right. I'm going to bring in a little bit more of the dark to that, what I want to be like my horizon line. And technically, if that sky was actually that color, those colors would be reflecting in this water. I know this. I know this. I just want to test how they gradiate and how this paper held up. So, what do you guys think? Just saying, not what I was hoping for. But again, you saw me do it twice. I soaked it twice. And I didn't let it dry. I just soaked it in there. It was. So because I did that, and I know that's on me, I'm going to do another really quick. Let me zoom this out so I have room to show you another. All right. Oh, you were working on a Mac Mini, George? Then it probably definitely, if it was getting overheated, it was probably definitely you trying to process something. Yes? Were you working? I didn't catch if you said that earlier. All right, all of a sudden this, I'm trying to get another piece of paper out of here, and it doesn't want to let it go. It's like the gum. Let's see if I can get the next one out. You know, they gum them together on the one end. still haven't shut that off, apparently. Here we go. Hi, welcome back, Jamie. We have just observed me beating the heck out of this paper. So, what are you going to do? But now you know. Now everybody knows. Okay, I'm just cutting another piece like so that it's small. We don't need a big piece for this. I just want to show you that had I done it this way, I probably could have gotten the same result as far as it not lifting. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking my piece of paper. This is my working side. I'm going to do it up here. I'm going to take that and I'm going to flip it over. I'm grabbing my silver black velvet because I'm only going to be using water at this moment. I'm going to take a nice, good, sopping, soaked brush. I mean, you see there, it's dripping, okay? And I'm going to soak the back of this piece of paper. I'm going to soak it. It's just clean, plain water. I don't care if the front gets a little wet. All right, but let's just get this good and soaked on the back only. Then when I flip that over, okay, press that onto my surface. All right, so Cat's Art Picks, you said something about trying with Canson. I would suggest doing it this way. You know, it was, and that's possible. Starting that is possible. That the cassette, let me just put what the questions were there because I want to make sure everybody can see that even after the fact. It is cellulose. It is, we're using the Strathmore Vision watercolor, 140 pound, 300 GSM. This is, it doesn't say 100% cotton. Therefore, I am assuming that yes, we're dealing with cellulose because we've had any cotton content in it at all. Of course they would advertise that. So, Cat's Art Pick. See, right now I have buckling because only the back is done. So I'm just going to take, not as soaked as I had on the back, but again, if I wanted to do a wet and wet type wash, just gently going over this. I just want the front to be what I had on my, I must have had fuzz or something on my, because this brush does not shed. I don't know, fibers or something from the paper. Okay. So we've only wet that once now. We wet the back, we flipped it over, we wet the front. I didn't soak it. I didn't let it sit in that water. So, because yes, Cat's Art Picks, I could have absolutely affected the sizing and everything doing that. I just wanted to see, was it going to buckle? What can we do? We certainly pushed that to its limits. Okay. What are we going to do here? I don't know. What are we going to do here? Oh, I know what we'll do. We were talking about, that's what we're going to do. Since I wet this anyways, basically just to show you the paper. Oh. Sorry, I had to really stretch for that. I had to get my go bag. You're going to see Holbein versus Core. Okay? Because, all right, this bag is packed. Because this is everything I had taken. Well, this isn't everything. Let's be honest. It's not everything. This is a lot of what I took to the lake. Oh, I could just go right back to the lake. Looks like the storm's passed. I could go back to the lake, stay there for a week, or go to the ocean. The salt air, that's what it is. Between the ocean and the lake. Because if I'm going to swim, I want to swim in a pool. Just saying. Or actually, some lakes here, I will absolutely swim in because we have some lakes that are so crystal clear. And if it's a nice clear lake, I would swim in that. And if it was a nice sandy bottom, I would swim in that. Nasty, muddy, leaf grown. Nope. No, thank you. Not for me. Not for me. All right, so my core colors, you guys have seen this palette so many times. Get the two new ones that are in there from before. So this is my core colors. Whoa. Okay, so the quinacridone magenta is close to the, I'm going to do the quinacridone magenta. I'm also going to do the phthalo blue green shade because I feel that that's very close to their peacock blue because the pigment said that they were PG7, right? I believe that's what I told you. PG7 and PB15. So pretty close to that. So I'm going to use those two colors in comparison because they're going to be dark enough for you to really see them take off versus the yellow you may not see so much. So, ooh, that does form some hard edges. Well, I'll show you the flowers. That's good to know too. So I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to lift on the original swatch. I'll glaze one over and we'll see. And then, oh, yeah, see, that's it. If it's a nice clear lake and I can see what's there, I'm fine. If I can't see what's there. Also, I don't like to swim in the ocean. I would swim in the ocean all the time when I was like a teen. All the time. All the time I would swim in the ocean. Now I'm like, I know a little bit more about everything that's in the ocean. It's a lot bigger than me. It's a lot bigger than what's in lake. And then of course, like when we go to the ocean, usually it's on Cape Cod. And so you go there and then you see the warnings like danger, don't get too close to the seals. And you see the warning signs for like the great whites because, you know, the seals are there, the great whites are there. Yeah, you guys know Jaws was filmed right there, right? So anyhow, obviously I know Jaws, the actual shark in Jaws wasn't real, but just saying. That was its location where it was filmed. Okay, so I have wet those two colors in the core to give them a minute to prime. We are going to see now. I'm going to take, do I still have plenty in there? Oh, the jellyfish. Oh, yeah. And I used to like, when I would go to the beach, I would always take meat tenderizer, like an unseasoned, just a plain meat tenderizer with me, just in case you get stung by a jellyfish. You know, you don't have to call on your best friend if you guys know about the saying with that. Put meat tenderizer on it. Sorry. The last thing I want is my buddy trying to help me out with a sting from a jellyfish. You guys all know what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh. So I'm just going to do one swoop up with water, another swoop up with water. All right, are you ready? Holbein will be to the left, and then to the right is going to be core. So I just got the Holbein there, so I'm going to put this in. All right, and we are going to see just how far the opera goes. And again, the colors aren't exactly the same. Okay, so the colors are not exactly the same. Oh yeah, snapping turtles, Dylan. Yes, I just saw you said snapping turtles. We have snapping turtles here. Big snapping turtles. And so that's a little, I don't want to get into a lake that I can't see, where I can't see what's in there, because yeah, snapping turtles are a very, very real thing. All right, and here is the core. So are you guys ready? And you're watching, and I'm going to zoom you in so that everyone can appreciate core's greatness. And it's only, I say that, but it's only great if that's what you like and that's what you want your color to do. If you don't want your color doing that, it's nice to know that it is going to take off. And I'm just going to pull back. Some of this water has receded, and I know I want it to be nice and even, so you can, like that one was when I started. Kind of turn my head to the side there so I could see the angle. You ready? Here goes core. So again, I know that some of the color is different. Um, look at that. But we're not talking about this, I'm not doing pigment to pigment to see what it's doing. I'm just talking, see, that just if it's focusing right. Brand to brand, like what they do. I love core paints. I love core paints. Oh, I did that, Jamie, in Hawaii. I used to go snorkeling all the time. Over at Hanama Bay. Beautiful spot. And when you go snorkeling, you had to be very careful, respect the reef and not touch. Swim and not touch. Not interfere with, if you would. All right, I'm just making these both. I'm gonna try to do this a lot faster so I can have them both pretty much the same. So here comes the Holbein. Make sure I'm tapping that where I put that water. Holbein. This is the peacock blue. All right. There's that one. Now, core. This is the phthalo blue, which again, there were multiple pigments in the, and I'm not sure on this one. I would have to actually pull the tubes to tell you what this one is, but all right, and here we go. Core. I mean, it just immediately takes off. So when we say it does not act like core does, like that's what we were talking about. For anybody that's not familiar with core watercolors, they will take off. If you have a wet wash on that paper and you don't want that color going there, well, you better not put it there yet, because see how it's flowing right down. So just know that that's important. It's an important thing to know, that the Holbeins aren't going to travel on you like that. Oh my goodness, Jamie. That and so yeah, it's probably just from the wave prior stirring up the sand. Of course, all the stuff stirring up the sand. But if that was your first trip to the ocean, oh, see, I couldn't imagine, because I grew up on the ocean, and then I have lived within driving distance to the ocean like my entire life, like a short drive. I think this is the farthest I've ever lived from the ocean in my lifetime. Growing up, I was like 45 minutes from the ocean. When I lived in Hawaii, of course, we were surrounded by ocean. And yeah, when we were stationed in Virginia, it was right there. The beach was 5 minutes up the road. I love the ocean. I miss it. I miss it. That is definitely was like my happy place. Go see. I am going to just do some strokes over this because we got this pilling when I did that wash. So I'm going to do the same thing. It really seems to show up. If I zoom it out, you guys might be able to actually see it. Okay. So it really seems to, you can see that pilling more with this blue. So I'm going to grab the blue just because that's what you seem to be able to see the pilling more. And so if I do this, let me get a little bit more water. Okay. So now it's not as wet as it was. Again, I'm not pressing hard. Just trying to do like a wash over it like I did here. That core's reaching. Look at that. It just pushed. Did you see it push? It just pushed the Holbein right out of there. I happened to touch where the water was. So everything just right through it. Wow. I'm just going to leave it. It looks pretty neat. So if we go over like that, I'm just going to keep going over this a few times because I want to see at what point I'm going to end up touching that one too. And then the pink will blow up into there. Want to see it? Yes, we want to see. There it goes. Maybe just let that water come down. Oh, it's going to go. Because there was plenty there. It'll travel to the edge where that water is. But I just broke that barrier, and now that core is going to keep going. It'll go and go. You want a fun experiment? Take some core paint and nice long piece of paper, nice long strip of water, and drop it in at that end and watch how far that goes. Like, it goes. And then you'll know. Oh, and the other thing too that you can do, which is great, it's at different times. Oh, look at that. That is looking so neat. So this didn't happen here yet. I don't have that pilling. I mean, I do have like, you see that speck there. There's a spot there. That's pulp of the paper. And there's a speck there. I wouldn't be thrilled, but it's not as bad. That's still just kind of pushing. In fact, if I drop the water on that, I'm just playing with it at this point because I know if I got more water on this, it's going to go. It's going to take off. This was a little dry. And that's the other thing. That's what I was just saying. If your wash, depending on how wet that is, how wet the paper is, it's going to be how much further it will travel. This wasn't as wet. It wasn't going. If I did the same here with the quinacridone magenta, if I drop this water into this color and let that get wet. It's going to take off. It'll keep spreading. I'm going to cause myself a bloom here because I just put more water than paint in that space. So I have to really blend that out. But yeah, it's going to make it. It's whatever. But it's things like that. That's what I will do. Sometimes I'll just sit there and I'll just play with stuff like that. Like, where's it going to go to? How far will it travel? And then wait. So do that. And then put like 2 or 3 strips of water. This is a wonderful way to see if you have paint that travels, how far will it travel and how long. So if I put down that 3 strips of water and I drop that, say, core paint in, and it travels however far, and then I wait another minute, 2 minutes, I drop it again. How far is it going to travel now? Then I wait another 2 minutes or a minute, whatever your time intervals are. And then I drop that in again. It's going to travel less. Each time it's going to travel less. But knowing how far it's going to move in an amount of time is what is going to help you start learning to control your water and to control your pigments in watercolor. So I highly recommend giving something like that a try. And it's relaxing. I mean, let's look how that took off. I love it. But it has not buckled. So it hasn't buckled, it hasn't lifted, and it hasn't hardly peeled. So Cat's Art Picks. Would I use this paper for a customer? No, I would not. No. If I was doing watercolor? No. That's a great question. If I was doing a painting for a commission or for a client or, whatever it was, specifically, if I was asked to paint something in watercolor, I am absolutely going to use paper that is, I want cotton. I want a cotton content. Well, this is archival and it is, it claims it's acid free. I didn't test it, but it claims it is. So I'm believing what it has said. Nothing has proved me otherwise. I could use it, but me personally, my choice is I'm not going to use it. All right, D. Lynn, have a great rest of your day. All right, the other thing that I wanted to show you before we take off is, and I hope that answered your question. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't use this. So let's make sure I make that clear too. I don't want somebody to come at me in the comments either. I'm not saying you shouldn't use this paper if you're selling your artwork and this is archival. Then if that's what you choose to use, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't feel there's anything wrong with that. So in my personal opinion. So there we go. I saw something about sharks and I did not really get a good look at that. That's like, oh, I'm just going to try to lift this. So basically, I have to go back and see what Starving said about sharks. All right. So my brush is wet. I'm just going to go over this 1, 2, about 3 times and lift that out. Okay. So I definitely see some staining. Like, I don't know that I would be curious with the magic eraser if I could lift that almost back to white. But again, on this paper, I don't think I would do that. I really don't think so. 1, 2, I'm just go over that, and there you see how that lifts. Oh, yeah, George, that's like one of my biggest fears. Absolutely, I do not want to be. I don't want to be shark bait. Everybody gives out the ooh ha ha. You guys, yeah. Well, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. I'm not going there. So there's the lifting. Now let's just do a little glaze real quick so that we can see that too. So I'm just going to come back right here and glaze some more color over. And at first, I don't think that's glazing cleanly. Like at first when I went over that, it was moving that, but we'll see. We'll see. And then I'll do this one. I'm going to catch up on the chat, see if there's any questions I need to answer before we leave each other for the day. If there's anything else you wanted me to try or do. So to answer the question, can I create with just 3 colors? Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I said the reasons why I wouldn't choose these particular 3 colors. If I can only have 3, I personally want single pigment colors because I will get much cleaner mixes from them. And that's just what I'm going to want. Ideally, oh, now that I have the palette out, I actually still have it over here. So there are your, as far as our transparency goes, when we glaze, right? So there you are. I mean, that's still wet. It hasn't dried yet, but I think you're still going to get kind of transparent. And then look at the salt. The salt reacted wonderfully on each of these. You're going to get beautiful results if you do some salt with them. So I do like that. Look at how that has moved. It has almost filled that space. This is still stuck down. So Cat's Art Picks, this is drying. It is nice and flat. It is still flat. So if you try that with Canson, only wet the back with your brush, set it down, and then go into painting the top. And I think you might find that it'll level itself out a bit better. This one, though, that was very wet, again, this, let me show, can I lift this one up? Okay, that's still kind of wet, but can you see how flat? If I wouldn't have touched that and left it to dry, that would have dried perfectly flat. That would have dried perfectly flat. I mean, yes, there was the pilling issues there. It's going to kind of curl because I touched it. There's pilling issues there because I beat the heck out of that paper and went well beyond what you should do. So this guy, when we've worked with the really wet washes, you'll see I did get, is this going to focus, please? There we go. I did get some hard lines around where I went in for that bud. I could come back on top of that, and I know that this is a different green now because I've changed it, but I could come back and put in a little bit more. Fill that in with a little more color if I wanted to. So again, I got some hard lines like over here. If I lift that up closer to you, but look at how bright and wow, the yellow and that opera, beautiful colors. Beautiful colors. Do they have their, I'm sure it's Holbein. I know they've included their light fast for those of you who want to know. Like, can I see it? Let's see. Can we get close again and see if it will? Come on, focus. Really? Thank you. Okay, so that is, I am not seeing, unless that's just the one star right there, which might make sense. See, I just see one star. Let's see the others, if there's stars there. Yeah, that's it. That's a 1 star. So that one, as I expected, probably fugitive. And that has 3. That's a 3 star on the peacock blue. And you see that shows you the circle for transparency. And on this one, we're talking focus, semi-transparent, and 2 stars. So, and again, I definitely would agree because this said also on the opera, focus for me, come on, it said semi-transparent. And if we look there, now if it'll focus on this for me, you see it is partially covering the black. I see that spotted. Same with the pink, but in the blue, I do have a pretty clear black line still. So I would absolutely agree. Semi-transparent on the yellow and the opera, and transparent, hit my elbow on my desk, transparent on the peacock blue. And then we have fugitive. This is a 2 star. This is a 3 star. Those wouldn't be my choices if I could only choose 3. But to answer the question, can I paint with just 3? Absolutely. If I have the one of each of them, I can mix all kinds of colors. I could do all kinds of things. I mean, look at how much we can create with just those 3. Do we need to start with a big set? No, we don't need to. I mean, we like all the pretty colors, I know, but we don't need to. Holbein, not going to move like you would expect, like Core. I don't think anything moves like Core. Core is just so beautiful. I haven't tried M. Graham. It is on my list because that is made with honey, and I would really like to see how that takes off in relation. I haven't used M. Graham yet. It is on my list. But this here, it's not going to move like that. So that is great information to know. When you get your supplies, like, play with them. Do this kind of stuff. Are they going to react with salt? Will they move? The paper, what happens? Too much water? Can it handle too much water? How much can it handle? Not that much. You guys saw what I did to it. Not that much. So, you know, if you're here watching the replay and you're enjoying this, smash that thumbs up button. Let me know, because I'm still, of course, still young channel, and you hitting that thumbs up button definitely helps get my content out to more people with YouTube, so they say. And I appreciate all of you who do so. But I want to know what kind of content you like. What are you looking for? What do you want to see more of? Hit the comments and let me know. Do you like when we push the supplies and find out what is their limit? This is clearly Strathmore's limit. Don't do this. Don't do this to your Strathmore paper. You won't be happy. I mean, look at, I can just brush those away. That is all. You see that? Yeah, that's all peeled paper. That's not, I did it. And just knowing that, you know, like up here, this is beautiful. That color is laid down beautifully. I want to use this paper some more. I don't say that I wouldn't recommend it. I beat the heck out of that. That's not a reason for me not to recommend this paper. So far, what I'm seeing, okay, so look, see this lifted, look, that tape, which this tape tends to do that. So another reason to use that one today, because I wanted to see how, let me get this off here so you guys can see it. Okay. But it does come off the paper so nicely. There we go. So there it is. Now this is just going with a really heavy wash. If I would have left this tape down, seeing how this has done, if I left this tape down with a good tape that kept it flat, I think it would have dried and returned, because if you look, that's not as bad as, I mean, you guys saw I did the Canson. When I did my video for how I would straighten watercolor paper afterwards, that video, that paper was like, it was warped all kinds of crazy. I really think that if this had stayed taped properly, it would have dried back pretty flat. So I'm giving that a 2 thumbs up. When it comes to this, I'm definitely going to paint some more with it and see. But so far, certainly like it better than the Canson. I can say that, if that means anything. Take it for what you will. I need to use the brushes a little bit more before I would give a final opinion on those. So I'll definitely try to do that. I'm seeing papers popping up in the chat. Jamie said had some Clairefontaine that she enjoyed. Fabriano is JR's favorite. As far as this liner brush, I want to do some more with that. I did like the way that the flow came off of there. So I need to try those some more. My first impression of the Holbein paints, they're beautiful. The colors are beautifully vibrant. Although Fugitive, I don't know how much I'm using this one. Like that wouldn't have been my choice in red for that reason as well. For your only primaries, I mean, I think Peacock Blue is gorgeous. It's a gorgeous blue. I would absolutely use that. I know I'm definitely going to use it. This may end up with a half pan in a palette somewhere. I have no problem mixing different companies in a palette either. Obviously, you see I have Core with my Daniel Smith palette. The Permanent Yellow Light, I don't think will get valuable real estate in a palette, only because it's a 2-star and I have so many yellows. That doesn't mean these paints aren't going to get used, because if I don't use them, then I'll pass them on. Or like with these, I am sure that I will end up using the Holbein paints for my patrons to test them, because I want you to experience it. So I do have an art supply sample tier where I will send you, like, one of the things I do is watercolor dot cards, and that could be a sample supply that you get that month, where I create the dot cards and send them to you so that you can try some of these different paints that I'm using. So if that's something that interests you, I know Tara's dropped the link. I know Joseph has dropped the link. You can check that out if that's something you're interested in. That is one of the new benefits on when I relaunched my tiers with Patreon. The palette, not happy with the beading. Not happy with the way that beads up at all. Jamie, you got the same palette. Now that you're back, I can ask you, did that happen to you as well? Did your palette bead like crazy? I'm going to end up taking a magic eraser to it. I've shown you guys magic erasers before. I'm just going to take a magic eraser and just go through and scrub it. And I'll probably, any of these wells that are clean, I will probably scrub those out as well to see if that can stop the bead up on there. Oh, absolutely. I agree. That's for anybody. If you want to do watercolor, at least 140 pound, 300 GSM weight to start. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. You need that thick paper. If you try to do it on a thinner paper, especially, or if you are a watercolor artist that loves wet and wet, working wet and wet, you definitely want that at least 140 pound. I want to get my hands on some thicker paper to try, and some rough. Anybody work on rough? We always hear, I know Paul Clark over in the UK, he works on rough a lot. And I love some of his work. And that goes right back to what I was telling you about. If you see an artist doing something and you're not able to duplicate it, I'm working with cold press paper. If he's working on rough and I'm loving some of that quick, easy, loose textures, like if you ever see him paint a tree, the leaves on the tree, like, and just take that brush on its side and just boop, boop, boop. It's like you're dry brushing, so the texture of the paper is catching it, but rough has so much more, the bumps and the crevices, so it catches it so differently. I know I can't duplicate what he's doing because I'm not using the same paper. So that is kind of what I was talking about earlier. Whereas I want to get some of that thicker paper, because he does too. He uses thicker paper a lot, thicker than the 140 pound. And he just goes, and it's like, you don't see his paper warping and buckling and all of that. So you actually use the palette. Jamie said I actually use the palette quite a bit. And oh, so you didn't have very much trouble with yours. So was yours like, were you back in time to see like the beading? Like yours wasn't doing, like if I grab this, like it's not, how should I put it on camera? It just beads. It does not sit there. So, which I don't like at all. I'll just take a magic eraser to it and see how that does. But, so did yours, that's what I was wondering if yours did that. JR, did you say rough too? Did you say rough paper too? Oh, I really want to give that a try. And I know that Paul uses, and I think he uses Saunders Waterford. I know that's one of the ones he uses. And he'll use Arche, or arches as we say over here, but Arche. He'll use that. But I think a lot of times it's Saunders Waterford rough when he uses it. I could be mistaken. If you haven't seen his channel, check it out. It's amazing, especially watercolor. Oh, and he's such a good, in my opinion, such a good teacher too. So I like his channel. You didn't notice any beading on mine, but it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Okay. And JR, you do use rough sometimes. All right, see, and that's, yeah. So there you go. For what that's worth. See, because I picked this up, it did start to dry quicker, but look, see that difference? Like even from there, can you guys see it in here? There's a little bit more wave there. So Cat's Art Picks, if you have some of that Canson that you want to try, wet the back, set it down, then go in and paint the top. And like I said, that wasn't taped down. I just went in and painted. It stuck to the surface. And so this one, I haven't lifted this, but let's go ahead and lift it and look at it. But that's still very wet. You see how wet that is? Yeah, sorry, paper. We just really beat the heck out of you. So you know this is still wet. I mean, I lifted that up but look at how nice and flat. I have a feeling that's going to be the way for me to go if I'm working with that Canson. Yeah, try it and see what happens. Let me know. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you have to let me know, Jamie, if you see any beading on yours. It could just be the palette. You know, I don't know. It could just be this particular palette. Does it happen to all of them? I don't know. Oh, George, thank you for being here. We're going to be going as well and move along. Let you have on with your day. I wanted to be done earlier because I wanted to see something at 5 that Daniel Smith was putting out, but I'm going to go catch on if they're still going when I finish with you. So if I'm going to pop another video up. Oop, it's over here and right down there. And hopefully you will like to watch that next. For those of you who are on the replay, if you are here watching it live, that's not going to show up. I have to wait for the video to process and then add that in. So I certainly will do that though. But thank you to Tara for being here and modding. And thank you to Joseph for being here and modding. I appreciate you both. Their links are in the description. If you haven't seen their channels, check them out. Joseph, most of you know, but we are over on Joseph's channel on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Same time I start streaming. He does a live stream there and I moderate for him. So I get to talk to you all in the chat and absolutely follow up with everything that's going on. And thank you. Whoa, and it jumped. Thank you all very much. Yeah, so we're over there chatting in his. So, you know, if you aren't already familiar and you're catching this, I'd love to chat with you on Mondays over on his channel. And Tara, also in the description, she does not live stream, but has some wonderful videos that are going out on her channel. One of them was a collaboration with myself. If you guys haven't seen that yet, that was a lot of fun. That piece right there is Tara's design. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. I'm still working on the gouache painting. That's not done yet. Still doing that. I am recording it. So when it's done, I will share that. Of course, I did the live on Facebook as I was working on that. It was the first time. That was fun. Tomorrow, patrons, I will see you in live chat on Discord. So if you guys like chatting and hanging out, every Friday at 10 a.m. That's what we do. So that opens up on one of my lowest tiers. So if that's something you're interested in, check that out. All the links are in the description for everything we used and for Patreon. Everywhere else that you can find me. Join the art group. I did fix the art group on Facebook, so now it aligns with MeWe, and I will post both areas. So if you prefer Facebook and you don't use MeWe and you haven't been able to join the group up till now because of that, I've opened Facebook up also, and I would love for you to join us. So there you have it. That is it, everyone. Those are the colors. I hope that you had a good time. I always enjoy talking with you. And until next time, I will see you all later. Have a great weekend and a great week. Go create something fun. Grab some paper, do some things with nothing in mind. Just explore. Explore your art and enjoy it. Till next time, guys. Bye.